All right, guys, we are on our first trip in the electric vehicle category. I have never done an electric trip, and I am headed to Pensacola for a little jaunt for a couple of days, because that's what we do on Supercar Street Racing. And so we're gonna see what it's like to drive in an electric car. You can see right here, I have to stop at a Supercharger at 1:14 p.m. and it will allow you, I think, to just charge up to whatever's necessary to complete the trip. But of course, we will probably charge it up to 100% and avoid that and have some lunch at the time. But we already caught some traffic, so we are dealing with that right now. We'll update you guys in a little bit when we get to the first stop, but man, we are in non-stop traffic right now. Guys, welcome to Supercar Street Racing. Today on the channel, we are going on our first ever trip in an electric vehicle, which will require charging on the way. Stay tuned, it should be fun. All right, so I figured out how to enable full self-driving. It was not enabled. There was a button that said request full self-driving beta, and I turned that on, and now the car is driving itself. I don't know if it's going to warn me about grabbing the wheel or not. I'm gonna find out real quick, but it was doing that with autopilot. So if I like this, I'll probably buy it for my car. I don't have it for my car, but you can see now I'm not doing anything except being ready to take over, because it tells you to do that. It says be ready to take over at any time, so I'm going to do that if I need to. But yeah, the car is basically driving itself now. Pretty cool. All right, a little update from the road now. We are a mile from Lake City, as you can see right there, and I did learn very quickly that if you take your hand off of this, it will actually warn you to apply force to the steering wheel probably about every 45 seconds to a minute. You just keep your hand right here on this little crease, it pretty much will drive itself, and it takes a turn signal to change lanes. See, it just warned me right there to apply force. And I don't know if it realized that I wasn't looking at the screen or I was doing something else, but I just touched the steering wheel and applied a little bit of pressure, and it did go back into auto steer. So we have a stop here in Madison, Florida, at a Supercharger, and so that will happen here at about 50 miles. So for now, everything's good. Just wanted to report in from the road with the full self-driving on the Tesla. All right, we are out here at the Supercharger in Madison, Florida, and we have the P100-D right here charging, and it has already added, I think, 35 miles to the trip in about 10 minutes. And so I'm gonna let it charge all the way up and eat some lunch here, and then I'll update you guys on what's happening. All right, I would say we've been here about 45 minutes, and we are up to 90, like with 1% charging, and I'm gonna go ahead and let it top off, even though the last like 10% takes longer. It does say I have enough to get to my destination right here. You can see I'll have 8% when I get there. Just gonna go ahead and let it top off. I'm not in a hurry right now. So that's where we are now with the supercharging. Well, this has officially become the worst trip I've ever been on. I have been sitting in traffic now for an hour. It has not moved. There is some kind of accident way up there, and I looked it up online, and there is a fatality. This is not moving at all, and we are in the middle of nowhere. Fortunately, we did charge up, so we're in no danger of losing charge, but there is a lot of traffic backed up right up there, and it has not moved. And people are not even attempting. A couple of cars went over the median to go back. I'm surprised they haven't just redirected everybody back to the last exit and through a different route, but nope, that is what we're dealing with right now. 1 hour of this so far. It's so frustrating. I mean, can they not just clear this out? Come on. Back, guys, I was stuck in that traffic jam for an hour and a half, and it was still going. and I noticed some people starting to cross the median and go back the other way, and I wasn't sure. I saw a bunch of trucks and SUVs do it. I wasn't sure if this car would be able to do it without getting stuck, but then I remembered all-wheel drive, so I just sent it and went right across the median, and the car took me 4 miles backwards and then around the traffic jam. I should have done that an hour before I actually did it. So now we're on the road again to Pensacola, and we are headed to a Supercharger where we will have 11% or 12% left, as you can see there on the screen. And that's where we will charge up for the remainder of the Pensacola visit, and also getting back to a Supercharger to go home. All right, guys, so I just stopped at the Supercharger and I put in 160 miles. It took about 30 minutes to supercharge that much, and it was giving me between 115 kilowatts at the beginning all the way down to 95 to 85 kilowatts at the very end. So you can see now we have a range left of 153 miles, which will get us to our destination of Pensacola, Florida. I won't need to supercharge again until I go home to Jacksonville, most likely, and I might find a charger to drop the car off here and max it out while I have nothing going on. So that's our current status. We are about, let's see, 39 minutes from the destination now. Hey guys, and just here with a little update on the trip. And this time on the way home, we are going to follow the suggested route of the navigation system. And as you can see here, right here, and right now, it wants us to stop in Chipley, which is about 80 miles away, and it wants us to charge for 30 minutes, and then it will stop us again in Madison and charge us for another 25 minutes, which should arrive at home at 17% battery charge. So we're gonna do that today on the way back and update you guys when we get to the Superchargers and how we are doing on our first road trip back home on a electric vehicle journey. Guys, we just got finished supercharging about 30 minutes ago. It took about 40 minutes to charge, and now we were en route to the next place to supercharge, which is Madison, Florida. And it says we will have 23% battery and need to charge for 25 minutes. It tends to be on the low end of what actually you need, so I'm assuming we'll be there longer, and then after that we will be to the house. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update of where we are now on our trip. All right, guys, just charged up for the last time. I think it took about 25 to 30 minutes. I didn't really check it, and I had forgot to record at the last Supercharger, but we are back on our way to Jacksonville, and it says we will be there at 2:09 p.m. is what we're looking at right now. So just wanted to give you guys a little update. I will update you again when we get back home. Guys, welcome back to the Supercar Street Racing Studio. You got Brad here, and that was a look at my first trip in an electric vehicle ever that required charging on the trip. We took the car all the way to Pensacola, Florida, and that is the loaner P100-D, not the Model S Plaid, which is in the shop actually getting some paint work done from the factory that had issues. And so as you can see, it actually works out better if you have a charger at your destination to actually let the navigation system pick the best routes for you. If you don't have a charger at the destination and your goal is maximum charge at the end, then you will want to, on your last stop, charge up as much as possible. So you can see on the way back, I had to stop twice and charge, and that's just the way it is. That is what is going to happen when you have to go on a long trip. Overall, it added about an extra hour and a half to my trip both ways, a little more on the way there because I charged extra instead of just what it wanted me to. So keep that in mind when you get an electric car. You're going to have to plan your route with a navigation system or an app like PlugShare and make your route totally planned so that you know what you're going to do, when you're going to stop, and how much charge you're going to have. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again real soon on Supercar Street Racing. You're ready? Just like
punch it. Like,
stop, but stop all the way first. All right, straighten the wheel out though. Straighten the wheel out. There you go. Go for it. Oh, it spun a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's cool.
Right?
I don't think you laid into it all the way.
Go that way.
Like, go, like...
Was that to the floor?
At the very end. It took me, yeah.
I think a little bit of traction control, too, with the wet.